Hello, I'm PS3 and this is QnA Saturday, the weekly series I run on my channel where I answer your questions that have been asked over the past week or so about and on my channel. So these tend to be about half split between the next update or just random things from my life, but because Title Update 55 was just announced this week and TU55 just came out, there's lots of questions about that, and obviously because it's so time sensitive, all of these questions come in from Twitter this week. So make sure you follow me at IBXToyCat, and today we'll be answering a lot of the big questions people want to know about the next update. So hopefully you do all enjoy this video. You can like it if so, because it helps out the channel, and let's know you do like the Q&As. But with that said, let's get straight into the first question, shall we? Which comes in from Koi, who says, why have you done less Seed Sundays for this update compared to the past 3 updates? So a lot of people have been curious about, like, you know, how everything on the channel's a bit changed. Obviously, I make a bunch of videos whenever an update comes out, because there's so much I'd like to cover in so little time. There's the secret features, there's tutorials, there's all these sorts of things, and the question as to why I've done less Seed Sundays is because I used to do, you know, like 3 or 4 in the week just to show you a bunch of seeds, but this week's seed didn't, this week's update didn't really require a brand new seed. Like, admittedly, you might want a seed for concrete, or you might want a seed for, you know, the brand new glazed terracotta, but besides those things and maybe dyes, you don't really need a new seed. So I figured one seed on Seed Sunday, which I would recommend you look forward to, because it's gonna have, like, you know, loads of terracotta and loads of the concrete stuff. You know, I figured that would probably be just about good enough. And also you gotta keep in mind, like, Seed Sunday, there's something about seeds for console that seems less interesting to people. Maybe everyone's like set up their survival worlds because it's been 5 years, so I'm hoping, like, to try and, like, make everyone a big push in a different way. There's gonna be some big changes to Seed Sunday at some point, and I just don't know what they are yet. I'm still enjoying what's going on right now, but there's gonna be some changes. So just keep that in mind as we move on to the second question, which is about the next update directly, because they ask, this comes in from Bayheldin, who says, are Lammas and woodlands coming next week? So that means Lammas and the woodland mansions. By the way, pro tip, Lammas is a Spanish word, I think. It's like 2 L's. It's not an English thing, but it's pronounced funny. But yeah, are the Lammas and the woodland mansion coming next week? Because as you all know, 4J Studios said something like, oh yeah, don't stop there, we're going to be revealing these features. And no, I don't believe we're going to be, you know, we're not going to be able to play with them next week. I wouldn't imagine they'll do one update this week, then one update next. That would be crazy, but I don't think it's even possible, because updates take like up to 2 weeks to cert sometimes, and that would mean they'd have to put both updates into cert at the same time. What if one had a game-breaking bug? It just wouldn't be a very practical solution. So next week is almost guaranteed not. I'd say like 99.9% guaranteed no update next week, but we will be seeing it for the first time next week. They're going to be showing us what some of these features from the next update will look like next week. It's crazy that they announced it just after the previous one, and that's why that's a big deal. It's not coming next week, but it's coming sometime soon, and we're seeing it for the first time next week. So there's the answer to your question, Mr. Bayelden, who said, so let's move to the third one, which comes in from Drake Softpaw, who says, when do you think the next update will come? So I think it's going to be a lot sooner than the gap between 2 updates, you know, usually is. If you don't know, console is about 3 months between updates, sometimes as much as like 6, and the longest it's ever been was 8, and that was like a really terrible stretch. So given that 3 to 4 is the average, and we just had one in 2 months, you would usually assume the next update's some decent way away, but I'm going to assume this next update is coming out possibly even in June. It's really crazy, you know, just how far, you know, far along they are in the process. Like, again, we skipped so far into the process of the next update the day this one came out. So if I had to give you a random date, I would probably guess the 20th or the 27th of June. That's right, I would really say that early. It could be obviously a bit later, and it makes so much sense if it was, but because they started hinting this immediately, and because they're ready to show it next week, that makes me think they've been working on it for some number of weeks already, and yeah, it's going to be pretty exciting. I think it'll be coming a lot sooner than we expect, and we already expect it to be pretty soon. So yeah, exciting stuff about the next update. Let's move on to the next question, which comes in from the Derp Child, and then an emoji. I didn't know you could put emojis in your Twitter name. That's news to me right now. Good stuff. So yeah, they ask, what's your dream update for the next, dream list for the next big update, and I love your videos, keep up the good work. Hashtag QnA. So thank you very much, the Derp Child, with your emoji thing. I appreciate you liking the videos, but let's talk about my dream list for the next big update. So obviously I'm going to be reasonable here, because I could just say everything. I want every feature, and then I want crocodiles, and I want Magikarps, and, you know, I could just like list a bunch of animals. Magikarp's not an animal, but my point being is, if like that's a dream update, but let's talk about the dream realistic update. So I would like to see every major, you know, like PC feature up until 1.11, and even some 1.12 stuff. I think, you know, like, we've been missing the new combat for a little bit now. I think that's the big thing from 1.9. We're missing like a couple of 1.10 features, like the fireworks thing, you know, just tiny stuff, and then we're missing like a little bit from 1.11, mostly the woodland mansion. So I'd like to see all of the brand new mobs, so the illusioner, the illagers, so like 5 brand new mobs, I guess that'd be in this update. Oh, plus the parrots. So yeah, there'd be a lot of brand new mobs in this update. I'd like to see the woodland mansion also, and I'd also really like it if we could get some form of technical blocks, you know, in the form of like either like a barrier block, or we could get like the structure block, or we could get like the, you know, access to customized worlds. I'd like to see something to boost creativity in that particular way. And you know, if we're just going for a dream list of things that are technically possible, realms would be amazing. Realms or add-ons, something to just like boost that creativity one more time would be pretty amazing, because even just adding brand new blocks to the game has made it so much more fun for me. Imagine how much more fun it'd be if there was a new block in the game that allowed you to do so much more with every block we had already. So there's my dream list, Mr. Derpchild. Let's move into the next question, shall we? Which comes in from Dog of Ice, who says, why does it seem like most people on the internet are American? So I think the reason most people on the internet seem American is because, one, you're statistically watching this video an American, so that means you see people like you and you just assume. And two, I think even though the internet's global, and even though the America only makes up what, like, I think it's just under 5% of the world population, even though both these facts are true, there's a lot more Americans, you know, per person using the internet. Like, there's a higher internet rate there. Also, you gotta bear in mind, you know, the English language thing, we're speaking English, which, you know, although other countries will come into this, that's not the case. And just bear in mind that, like, I guess Americans tend to congregate around certain websites on the internet. I think that's the reason. I think it doesn't just seem like most people on the internet are American. I think most people on the parts of the internet you're probably using are American. Like, if you go on Reddit, I think some decent portion of their users are from America. On YouTube, again, I only have my own audience figures, but 57% of people watching my videos are American, apparently. That's really crazy. And that's probably why. I can't tell you for sure why that is, but I can just tell you that Americans congregate in certain places, and that means if you ask someone, statistically, they're going to be American, which is just a fun fact you might not have known. Let's move on to the next question, which comes in from Choi, though, who says, since 4J added the option to make your controls and customize them, do you think when dual wielding comes out, they will use that option? So the answer to this is, I think it's possible. I think that's really the big reason why they would have done it that way, because they want you to set up your controls to use the D-pad for something else, and once they've done that, they can be like, oh yeah, here's dual wielding, it automatically uses this, but you don't have to use it if you don't want to. I think that's the easiest way to introduce dual wielding in the least offensive way possible, because if you do it like that, so let's say the next update makes dual wielding fully introduced, then it would just be like, oh yeah, well, I mean, you know, you can just not use it if you don't like it. I think that they're slowly introducing this sort of stuff, and I think the controls and the offhand slot just for maps and arrows is a clever kind of first step towards that. In fact, I think there's a lot of clever moves in this update as like a preparation for a big update of like controversy, because think about the build battle thing. If build battle is coming to console, like, you know, in that news video from earlier today, then the pick block and all of those brand new blocks, it'd be clever to introduce them now so you can get used to them. And I think the same thing is probably going to be true for dual wielding. They want you to get used to the idea of a second hand before they give it to us, and also the idea of remapping a control, because if you don't, if it's most controllers, you have to pick a control to get rid of, or you have to use your D-pad, and that's something that people would have to get used to. So yeah, that's the answer to your question, Mr. Choi. Hope it helped you out. So let's move on to the next question, which comes in from Console Craft, who says, as we have just had a huge update weeks before E3, 4J must have something big for E3, right? What's your thoughts? So the answer to this question is, I think that, yeah, because we had this big update, it should mean in theory, or not big update, let's call it a survival update, because we had this, you know, major update just before E3, in theory, 4J would be doing nothing after this, because they should be starting the next update. Because they've already seemed to have started that already, I think we are going to be seeing something big at E3. I don't know what that something big is going to be. I really can't even think about it, because, like, again, in just 2 months they made this update, and in that 2 months they were also working on something else. It's really crazy. I don't know what they're working on, and but I imagine it's going to be big if they're showing it at E3. Bear in mind, E3 is just the opportunity to speak to us, you know, the Minecraft, you know, console people, or even just the Minecraft fans in general. It's an opportunity to speak to gamers as a whole. They want to try and, you know, lure people back to Minecraft if they've stopped playing. They want to lure people who haven't played Minecraft before to start playing now on the console, and that's why it's got to be something big. Because last year, to, you know, convince people to play the Pocket Edition, they announced that, oh, guess what? Anyone can play with anyone, anywhere. Because realms, also add-ons, you can play aliens and stuff. It was a really big deal. Maybe we'll get something like that for the console, but I don't imagine it'll just be the same, you know, kind of like, oh yeah, here's the thing from last year, but here it is on console. That doesn't make too much sense to me, even though it's possible. So yeah, I imagine we'll see something huge at E3. I think if you think that it's huge, though, we'll probably be disappointed, but I think it's going to be at least pretty big, and that's what I'd say. I'll let you know the moment something comes out with some E3 coverage, but for now, big stuff coming, I think, and that's good news. So let's move on to the next question, which comes in from Martin Aldridge, who says, hashtag QnA, why did you start YouTube in the first place? Is it just a hobby? So I did actually start YouTube basically as a hobby, because back in 2009, I believe my channel started, maybe 2008, basically you couldn't make money, well, you could just about make money for regular channels, but gaming could not make money on YouTube. There was just no way to do it, because if you, this is something that seems silly now, but you, at the time, it was considered that, you know, uploading gaming content was kind of like uploading movies, you know, you're uploading their content to the internet, and therefore you couldn't make money. YouTube would just say, nope, we're not taking that risk, and it sucked, but gaming channels just didn't make money. So even though regular, you know, vloggers and stuff were making money, if you uploaded gaming content, like I was at the start, you could not make any money on YouTube off it. So at the time, I was just doing it because I was like, I really love sharing my gaming with the internet. Like, I love sharing, honestly, my gaming moments from anyone, like even when someone just watching me play Guitar Hero, like my first videos, it just feels fun and good to me. And it's the same thing with like sharing bits about game, like, oh, you know, this little secret about this game, you know, you don't actually have to hold down the notes when you do that sort of stuff. I really love just sharing anything about games, and that's why I uploaded tutorials to my channel, because then people might see them and I could feel good, like, whoa, I helped. It was a fun little thing. So yeah, and then obviously eventually the YouTube partner program was allowed for gamers through, you know, content partners like Machinima, and now if you actually just make gaming videos, you can make money on them. It's crazy, and that means that that's what I do for a living. So yeah, YouTube isn't a hobby anymore. I started as a hobby, but it eventually grew into something cool, which this is like the most amazing, like 1 in a million chance that shouldn't happen, but it didn't. I'm really pleased with that. So yeah, there's the answer to your question, Martin Aldridge. Let's move into the next one, which comes in from Jeff Ramsey, who says, hashtag QnA, do you think the speed of the updates has changed? And why do you think the speed of the updates have changed? And I guess I'll also ask, has it changed? Yeah, it has changed. Like 2 updates in 5 months is a lot faster than before, and I think the reason it's changed, to answer your question, Mr. Jeff Ramsey, is because Microsoft is in charge now. They clearly have some interest in the console version being as good, if not better than the other versions or whatever, so they put some more resources in, if I had to guess, and 4J themselves, you know, they were doing a certain update schedule, and people just didn't seem to like it, you know, like the whole, like, oh yeah, this is a mini game, and then here's a mini game, then here's an update, oh, but there's a mini game again. Like, people didn't really seem to like that switch of, like, we never know when the next thing's coming, so I assume they're going to try and do more regular content updates, like the PE did that one year where there was, like, 5 updates, so that there's always something to look forward to try and kind of try to, like, bring the console community together. I believe that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to make, you know, everyone so excited, to make the game do better as a whole. I think it's a tactical move, and I think it's good. I'm glad they listened to the community and they saw that people just weren't happy with how it was before, because, you know, again, I think it was literally just, you know, like a month ago of, like, TU55, I think it was, where everyone just went nuts. It was just non-stop, like, this is terrible, why are they doing this, and this fast they've turned that around into, oh yeah, here's an update, and also, oh, there's another update coming soon too, and also, there might be a minigame after that. That's crazy if you ask me, and I'm glad that they could change, maybe they were doing it anyway, but it looks like they really just responded that quickly to people, and I'm glad, honestly, I'm quite glad. So yeah, that's the answer to your question. Let's move on to the final one, which is the obligatory travel question in every Q&A, and this one comes in from the Tap Abrata, who says, hashtag Q&A, when are you coming to India? So, first of all, India's a big place. I mean, if I go to India, it's probably going to be a different part to where you live in, because it's just that big, you know? There's like 1 billion people living there, literally 1 billion, more than 1 billion. But no, the reason I haven't gone to India yet, and the reason it's going to take me a while, is because it's one of those countries where you have to be like 1,000,000% safe with like all the jabs you get or whatever. So, gotta go to a doctor and like they stick needles in you, and that's fun. But no, the big reason though is actually you need a visa. Even though the UK and India, you'd figure we'd be best friends, right? Because we did that thing together, or maybe not best friends. But you know, you'd figure we'd be really good friends. But no, you actually need to get a visa from the UK to India, and it's like a really long it's not an easy process. And honestly, I don't like the idea of having to buy like an expensive flight to a country, then having to buy like an expensive permission to enter. That, like, I know, I did it for Russia, and then I realized like, oh, I paid a lot of money to go there for 3 days, just for the privilege of going in the country, before spending money there, before spending money to get there. And yeah, I want to go to India at some point. It's just like, it's not as high up as it used to be because of how long the process is and how many steps there is. So yeah, I'd love to go to India at some point. I'd love to go to every country in the world at some point, but some of them, especially the ones with these really awful visa things going on, are slightly lower down the list. So yeah, any visa-free country, hit me up and I'll come over to you. That sounds good to me. So I hope you did all enjoy this week's Q&A though. You can like it if you did like it, you can share it if you really liked it, and you can subscribe if you're new around here, because I make videos like this one every single day on my channel, and if you subscribe, you'll see them daily on your homepage. Reminder, check out Seed Sunday tomorrow if you want a seed with so much terracotta, basically a big mesa biome, but also has concrete, and it's a good seed. I'd recommend checking it out. I recorded it just before this, and I think you'll enjoy it too. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.